What's up? What's up? What's up, tribe? Riders. Tribe, riders. Like, we got two channels, y'all. I need y'all to start going and subscribe to the other one. I'm working on something big over there. Today we're going to be reacting to this video while I'm doing hair. Because as a mother of 5 children, I never get free time. I kind of was on a delay with everything because I had a spring break. I had these kids for dang near 11 to 14 days. Y'all hear me? Before they went back to school. And yeah, I was super busy. And besides the weekend that I got free. But like I said, we finna do this reaction video, do this hair, and we gonna be reacting with Laid Back, DFR, the title of the video. I got it in there, y'all guys. Warning, celebrities disappear. These TikTok conspiracies might shake your whole entire understanding of everything. Like, you just might think different on anything you've just seen or been watching. And like I said, I'm doing hair, and she just had the headphones plugged in to another one, but I don't know what she's doing right now. Like, probably besides trying to get on my nerves. But let me start my video.
In July of 2002, Michael Jordan's teammate mysteriously disappeared, and to this day, he's never been found. See, this is NBA champion Brian Williams, who once had the largest contract in Detroit Pistons history. And although it's been over 22 years since he disappeared off the coast of Tahiti, there's still many more questions than answers over what happened on his boat. So Brian was selected 10th overall in the 91 NBA draft, and in 96 with the Clippers, he had a breakout season averaging 16 points.
Imagine being able to build anything
not that fast
just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44, a complete AI.
Let me tell you, them ads is what's throwing me off too with my videos that I have recorded already. And it just made me say, forget it, I'm just gonna start live streaming, because editing these videos, listen, it takes so much to edit these videos. And I'm sitting here doing all of this one person. I don't have like no back audience that's helping me with the line. Okay, I'm doing the whole line by myself. Hair, kids, this, reading, learning, it's all with me. I gotta do it all. I'm doing it all. So bear with me, y'all. Don't get frustrated with my absence. Like, I got sick kids, they get sick. Things just happen, okay? Life is unexpected. But I do my shorts, I'm still here. And these ads are killing me when I try to record it and edit it. They do some echo stuff when I take them out. It's too much going on with trying to remove that ad. But come on, YouTube, slow down. Or y'all guys with y'all Google ads, like, just let us watch the video. Maybe.
In the Bulls in 97, where he averaged over 20 minutes per game in the finals. And he was an important reason why Jordan won his 5th title. Now in 98, Brian Williams switched his name to Bison Dele to honor his Native American and African roots, and that's also when he signed a $50 million 7-year contract with the Pistons. At 28 years old, the 6'11 center had all the potential in the world, but he just did not love playing basketball. And that's why in 2000, he suddenly retired from the NBA. He gave up $30 million of his contract so he could travel the globe. With only a backpack, he traveled through India, Indonesia, Europe, all these places by himself. And in 2001, when Michael Jordan reached out to him and asked if he wanted to play on the Wizards, Bison turned him down. Instead, he paid $1 million for a 55-foot boat in Australia, and he started sailing around the world with his girlfriend, Serena. But what he didn't know was when he left on July 6, 2002 from Tahiti to go to Hawaii, that would be the last trip of his life. 4 people left shore on that boat. Bison, his girlfriend, his brother Miles, and a captain. But only his brother, Miles DeBoard, returned. A couple months later, that September, Bison's boat was found repainted with a new name. There was also repaired bullet holes. Now, at the same time Bison was missing, his brother Miles was caught in Arizona impersonating him, trying to buy $150,000 in gold. Miles DeBoard then fled to Mexico and passed away shortly after from an overdose. According to Miles' girlfriend, he told her what happened on that boat. He said the 3 others passed away because Bison started a fight. However, the evidence we have shows there was more to the story. Right before that final trip, Miles spent $200 on weights, and on July 7th, from the boat, he made a mysterious phone call. Miles was broke, so was he doing it for his brother's money? Was he jealous of his older brother and didn't want to be in his shadows anymore? Unfortunately, we will never know, and for more stories, just drop a follow.
Do your own research. This going to be interesting. It's so easy.
Another ad. I was finna say something and I got an ad. Hold on.
You need to become a podcaster with Riverside. You just need a concept and a way to record it. Here's how.
This is
Okay, like he just said, do your own research. This is about to be juicy. Let's get on into this.
Songwriter Connie Converse, who has been missing for 49 years, disappearing in August of 1974. Buckle up, this story is wild. Raised ultra-religious in New Hampshire, Converse had a sheltered life.
Okay, wait, pause. He said 49 years, and I almost said, dang, that's a long time. But it's a case out here about this black guy who went missing 25 years ago, and his mom found him inside of a museum for medical students because the man's daughter ended up being a medical student that wanted to go to this museum. And 25 years later, she found her missing son corpse, his muscles and tendons, inside that museum, and had to fight, y'all. She had to fight so hard to get the records and for them to do blood work and pull them muscles to see if that was her son. But she finally got a lawyer who fought for her and all that good stuff. And then, yeah, she finds out 25 years later that her son was put inside of a museum in a John Doe case and some other stuff, y'all. Y'all want to hear about that? Just let me know in the description, down there in the comments. But yeah, it's true.
Moving to New York City in the mid-1940s. She settled in Greenwich Village, which for a singer and musician at the time was the Mecca. She played clubs regularly and sold her music at her shows and on the street, but never garnered any sort of acclaim or a record deal or any sort of press outside of an appearance on CBS's The Morning Show with Walter Cronkite. She was also an activist who organized anti-racist rallies, worked with the NAACP and the People Against Racism, Queen shit. However, by 1961, frustrated and burnt out, she left New York City and music behind and moved to Ann Arbor, Michigan, where she worked as the managing editor for the Journal of Conflict Resolution. After this move, her behavior took a depressive turn and she frequently turned towards alcohol. According to her brother Philip and some friends, Converse was a lonely soul who never engaged in a romantic relationship. By 1973, Converse was at an all-time low. She actually lost her job due to her anti-racist allyship when she came under the scrutiny of HUAC, which is the House of Un-American Activities Committee. In August of 1974, she wrote a series of letters to family and friends stating that she wanted to start a new life. She wrote, "Human society fascinates me and awes me and fills me with grief and joy. I just can't find my place to plug into it." She then packed her Volkswagen Beetle and was never heard from again. Fast forward to 2004, and her best friend for years, the comic book illustrator Gene Deitch, was on a radio show called Spinning on Air and played some of Converse's music. Listeners were impressed and tracked down more of her music in Ann Arbor and where Deitch lived in Prague. In 2009, Loud Records released a compilation of 18 songs that Converse had recorded and produced a fervent following with tens of millions of streams on Spotify. No one knows what happened to Converse or if she even lived past August of 1974.
My bad, y'all. I don't know what's happening. My OBS disconnected, but it reconnected. So let's hope that it just went right back to where we was at.
The unsolved disappearance of the millionaire Ty Silk and the mysterious mega mansion he left behind in Bangkok, Thailand. This is Jim Thompson, March 26, 1967. Mr. Thompson, a very wealthy American businessman known as the Ty Silk King, is on vacation in the Cameron Highlands of Malaysia. He leaves his friends out for a short walk in the jungle and never returned. Vanished into thin air. His friends didn't think too much. They knew that he likes literally getting lost in the jungle. But this time he for real, and he never came back. And they never.
Okay, I want to pause it real quick because something going on. I ain't hoping it ain't glitching on y'all, but my OBS had just disconnected and reconnected, and I just want to give the video a second to add back up, I guess. Me and laid back here. Let me see what's going on.
Locals, Malaysian police, international search teams scoured the whole Malaysian jungle for this guy. He disappeared into thin air. Some think nature took him out, some think he was abducted. Some even get more elaborate into saying that it was perhaps for political reasons, since Jim Thompson was a military intelligence officer during World War II. 57 years, and the mysterious disappearance of Jim Thompson remains unsolved to this day, which gave me this strange, eerie feeling walking throughout his house he left behind in Bangkok. Today, it's a museum that anybody can go in and visit and explore themselves. Wow. But still, something feels strange about being inside the house of a man that completely disappeared. This place is actually 6 different houses that he imported from different parts of Thailand to Bangkok and was reconstructed at site to create the mansion that he had. The place is absolutely beautiful. Koi ponds, plenty of greenery, traditional Asian architecture. It's a very zen feeling in the house. But this is all that's left of Jim Thompson today. What do you think happened to him? Follow to see more travels through Southeast Asia. Stay curious.
Apparently you can go from 0 to a complete site in just a single prompt with Wix Harmony. I don't know if this is going to be possible. Where vibe coding meets drag and drop freedom. We'll see about that. All right, let me try to make up a site to sell some like theoretical kombucha. Make me a site about kombucha. Make it look nice and pretty and highlighting the product. Refine my prompt. Okay, let's do that. All right, that's so much better. All right, generate my site. So now Aria, my AI assistant, is planning.
My bad, y'all. I was looking for my jam.
Sean Flynn disappeared on April 6, 1970. He was the son of Hollywood legend Errol Flynn and French actress Lily Demita. They got married in 1935 and they had their son in 1940, and then got divorced in 1942. After Sean graduated from boarding school in 1960, he decided to follow in his father's footsteps and attempted acting for a while, with most of his work being in Italian films, or B films. By 1965, he got bored of trying to act and moved to Africa for a while to be a guide for safaris and big game hunting. While in Africa, he realized he was running through his money quick, so he accepted 2 new roles in 2 Italian films just to gain some money. Then in 1966, he did a film in Singapore. That would be his final film. During that time, he gained an interest in photojournalism, and he decided to go to Vietnam as a freelance photojournalist. And he got hired by numerous magazines from Paris, London, and the USA as a photojournalist in Vietnam. His photos began being published in magazines all over the world, and he quickly became a big name in the photojournalist world. And he was considered a high-risk photojournalist, with him even getting wounded one time.
Wait a minute. What's going on back there? This a Photoshop. Why it look like a man face with a woman's dress on? I ain't never watched this before, y'all, but I'm happy I caught. Look at that. I mean, y'all can't even see what I'm looking at, but the woman over there with the dress on, man, woman, mask. He looked like he got antlers. And why he look like Jesus, help us. What is going on in this picture? Something ain't right about this, y'all guys. Something ain't right about this. Is it just me, or do she look like she got a sideburn? Okay, let's get back to the video. I'm sorry. It's her in the swimsuit.
In 1966. Throughout most of 1966, he stayed on battlefields to get photos for publications. And was even credited for saving an Australian platoon from decimation by a mine by identifying the mine while taking
hurry up, move this picture.
In 1967, he flew to Jordan to cover the Arab-Israeli War of 1967. And then he returned to Vietnam in 1968 and was also hired as a cameraman for CBS News. And finally, Sean Flynn went to Cambodia in 1970.
This dude, every picture he got his shirt off. Like every picture he got his shirt off.
That's right.
When news broke of North Vietnamese advances into Cambodia. On April 6, 1970, Flynn
and I was just going to say something, but Yeah, he got that shirt off for a reason. Just to show that sexy boy, his abs and stuff. But it was probably something to do with the logicalness of a woman's emotions, and with her seeing that her physical being will stare longer, he will get bought. It was a money mechanism back in the day, like just like it is today. He got to figure out how he could sell more, and it was shirtless.
A group of journalists were to go to a government-sponsored press conference in Saigon. They were all to be escorted in limos, but Sean Flynn and Dana Stone decided to go on motorcycles instead and not the limos. Sean Flynn and Dana Stone found out that there was a checkpoint in Cambodia where 4 journalists had been captured. And being the high-risk photojournalists that they were, they decided to go check it out. So they detoured and went to the checkpoint and were never seen again.
Really? You know what? I know these people was Caucasian. I ain't trying to be funny or nothing. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not. But they was Caucasian. They wasn't Italian. They could have been Irish, perhaps. They wasn't African American. I'm telling you that right now. How you gonna hear a story like that and say we just gonna go check it out just because? Yeah, everybody died. Oh Lord, everybody died.
Yeah. Numerous searches have happened, and nothing has ever been found.
For real.
No signs of life, no signs of death. His remains are missing to this day. After 14 years of searches happening, Sean Flynn and Dana Stone were officially declared dead in 1984, with their remains never being found, and to this day no one knows exactly what happened that day. His mother, Lily Demeter, never stopped trying to find him. She independently funded numerous searches for him in Cambodia until she died in 1994, 24 years after he disappeared. What do you think happened to Sean Flynn that day? And what do you think of his choices? Let me know in the comments.
Michael Rockefeller's disappearance was way more terrifying than you'd thought. He wasn't a missionary like John Chow was with North Sentinel Island, but instead, he was an anthropologist who was deeply fascinated by the Asmat people, and at the time, they were known to have ritualistic warfare and cannibalism. He would be traveling in a small boat along the coast of Papua New Guinea with a fellow anthropologist, but according to the person who was with him, the boat would capsize and they would be stranded. And after drifting for a while, they would actually catch a stroke of luck. A passenger plane would spot them, drop off some gifts, and then promise that they're going to return. But Michael decided that the land was only a few miles away and that it was close enough for him to actually just swim to shore. He would tie 2 empty gas cans to his arms, say, "I think I can make it," to the other guy, and then start swimming. And of course, that would be the last time he would ever be seen alive. The next day, the other anthropologist would be saved, and still Michael Rockefeller was nowhere to be found. In the years that followed, other missionaries and other local people in that area would actually say that the Asmat people had taken him, killed him, and then consumed him.
I'm doing something though, like I'm
alone,
what's the name?
completely vulnerable. So
okay, but you're messing up my
any
video right now.
tribesman who came across him. But this
and you're
story
saying after I'm done doing what
There's this
though?
famous photo of this fair-skinned guy.
And, okay,
who's
well, what are
rowing
you
a boat
asking me
with
to
people
do?
who seem to be other Papua New Guineans.
Okay.
At least that's from the rhetoric that I've seen online, and you can see that the guy has glasses
Bring
that
me
were
the
similar
pepper,
to Michael
the
Rockefeller's
knife.
at the time of his disappearance.
A plate.
But at the end of the day,
And
it's
salt.
all speculation, and there's been no concrete evidence of exactly what happened to him. And to this day, it's still one of the most chilling and unsettling mysteries that has never been solved.
For the first time in modern history, college student graduates are more unemployed than high school students. Today, those jobs are just disappearing because there's so much confusion out there. So many people are overwhelmed because there's a new product every day or week and they don't even know where to start. We got to make sure that all of us are AI enabled. And if you don't have AI, you're not going to be replaced by AI.
And let me be honest, some of these ads I'm gonna let play because it's a revenue thing. I'm not gonna skip them all. But when I edit my video, like download it off of YouTube and edit it, I will take them out.
You're going to be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI.
If you wait a year, 18 months, you'll already miss this wave. AI is so much more than all the gimmicky stuff you see online. When it's used properly, it is the accelerator, it is the amplifier to take your ideas, to take your business, to take your life to a whole nother level. And that's exactly what we're going to share with you at the AI Advantage Summit.
We want to take you on a journey, just 3 days, 2 hours a day. We're going to show you how things used to be, how you can do it now in seconds, how you can do it more profitably, and show you how to do something right now in your business or in your personal life or career. So don't miss out. This is your chance to compress decades into days and have a real plan that's simple, actionable, and puts where AI is your advantage as opposed to being confused or frustrated or trying to do it all. Join us. Click below, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Can you be quiet?
When bold flavor is your move, this is your pub burger. The Colby Jack Pub Burger is layered with fresh beef, Wisconsin Colby.
Bro, some of these stories are really, really crazy.
In 1975, a singer and songwriter Jim
You can say that again. Beyond crazy.
Sullivan disappeared without a trace while heading to Nashville, Tennessee. This case is just so strange because his car was locked with all of his valuables and personal belongings stuck inside of it. There was no traces, no footsteps, no nothing. The last location he was seen in was a remote location in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. There were two big speculations, but singers and songwriters back in the day, they had a lot of like mafia funding or gang funding in general, so people believe that the mafia took him out maybe with a hitman or something. Others believe that he was abducted by aliens because this was New Mexico and this was 20 years after the whole Roswell incident happened as well. And disappearing without a semblance
But I'm
of a
live
trace
streaming.
is
How?
This Jim Sullivan guy was also pretty popular. People loved his music. His first album was UFO. That was the title, which is why people say that maybe he was trying to send a message that they were coming for him. Jim's music was not taking off like he wanted to, so he started drinking a lot. Him and his wife would end up separating, however, they kept in contact all the time.
It's saying I'm
He just
still
said he was going to go get a
recording.
job and drive to
Well,
Nashville,
streaming,
Tennessee,
but
playing music.
it just said something about low storage. So it's probably glitching again.
So the drive to Los
How is it that I keep running into these small problems and I don't know what to do no more, y'all. Like, I said, okay, I'm taking too long to get back. Let me just live stream. Then I live stream, and I don't even know if y'all can still see me. But my computer just said, like, how is it that it's a data thing going on right now if I'm streaming? Like, I'm confused at this point. And at the level I'm on, I ain't got time for these no more. I'm wasting my time with no support. Like, literally, I got so much going on.
Los Angeles, where he was from, all the way to Tennessee, is going to be really, really long. He drove 15 hours straight, checked into a motel. Many claimed he didn't even sleep at the motel. Apparently, he bought a bottle of vodka too and started heading south, still driving. A man apparently saw Jim Sullivan on the road. I'm not sure what happened to his car at that point, and offered him a ride. And then after that, he was never seen again. His car was found at the Giannitti family ranch, and everything was in there, all of his belongings, even his 12-string guitar. The guitar is the weird part for me here, because why would a musician leave behind their instrument, especially when to Nashville, Tennessee? The music scene is popping over there. Like, obviously he's going there for work. Why would he leave that behind? The police searched the entire area. His brothers came out. The magazine was saying, you know, where's Jim? No leads developed. And then they found a decomposing body a few miles away from where he was last seen. However, it was not identified to be Jim. It was somebody else. Like I said, the two theories are that the mafia got him. Apparently, people are saying the Giannitti family had ties with the mafia, or they speculated that. Jim saw something he shouldn't have seen, and then they offed him. Jeez. Which honestly, I mean, that would kind of explain a lot. Or they could have just, offed him for fun. They didn't even have ties with the mafia. The other thing being alien abduction.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
But
Others
I could have swore I just said
something.
something.
Probably
You go
killed
right
him,
behind
mistaking
myself,
him for a
screaming that
hippie,
loud.
which
What's
police
this?
officers did not like hippies back in the day. So maybe they shot him and covered it up. Maybe that decomposing male
I got
body they
kids.
found
If y'all can
was
still
human
hear
body
us, I
after
don't
all, but
know.
the police officers didn't want to take the heat for that, so they said it wasn't him. I could definitely find that believable, and that's happened in multiple other true crime stories.
Wow.
Jim's album UFO talked about driving on the desert roads and getting taken by aliens, which is very ironic because he was driving on a desert road and he was stripped without a trace. His son, Chris Sullivan, is still alive today, and he hopes the mystery of his father will soon be solved.
So I wonder
hope
when
so
I'm
too.
streaming.
But
do
for
I
now, this
even
case remains
record?
cold. Let me know your thoughts about this story, guys.
What happened to British aristocrat Lord Lucan? People have been scouring the globe for this guy for 49 years after his children's 29-year-old nanny was found murdered in 1974. But here's the thing.
What?
Lord Lucan, who was declared dead in 1999, might have just been discovered living in Australia thanks to AI facial technology.
No
Lord
way.
Lucan, whose real name was John Bingham, was the 7th Earl of Lucan and a major socialite of British aristocracy at the time. He was wealthy, popular,
Oh,
and
man.
charismatic.
I just heard something that made me think about the movie Double Jeopardy. If that AI facial recognition don't stop this, now you done already put somebody in jail for something they didn't do, but you finna now get people out of jail because you finna find people who fake they death. Oh my God, AI probably gonna be able to find people who fake they death, and people gonna be able to do double jeopardy. Can't get tried again for something you already done took time for. Go out there and take they. Shut up. Finish watching.
And he said to have an appetite for luxurious and decadent things like Russian vodka, power boats, and cars. Those indulgences also included gambling, and thanks to his vice, he found himself in debt, staring down a divorce from his wife and without custody of his kids. On the night of November 7, 1974, Bingham's wife, Veronica, found the nanny, Sandra Rivet, lying dead in the basement of her home outside London, bludgeoned by a lead pipe. Veronica claimed that she was also attacked, but managed to escape to a nearby pub, where she said a murderer was in her house and had killed the nanny. Many have speculated that Bingham snuck into the house to kill his wife, but ended up killing Rivet by mistake while in the dark of the basement. A year after the incident, an inquest jury found Bingham guilty of Rivet's murder. But after the night of November 7, 1974, Bingham was allegedly never seen or heard from again. Last year, though, a computer scientist and University of Bradford professor Hassan Ugail developed a type of AI facial recognition technology he says might have actually found Bingham. Ugail, with the help of Sandra Rivet's son, Neil Berriman, compared photos of Bingham from the time of the murder to photos of a man living in a Buddhist community in Australia who was suspected to be the aristocrat. After comparing the photos, Ugail's algorithm came to the conclusion that these pictures belong to the same individual or someone who looks extremely like them, like identical twins. Ugail says that while it's impossible to definitively say it's Bingham, the issue should be certainly looked into further. According to The Guardian, the caregivers for the 87-year-old Australian denied he was Bingham, and it's unclear if any further investigations will occur. But for now, people will continue to wonder.
Whoa. What's that? I just built a budgeting app with Base 44. Guys, Nina just built an app.
Impossible. You're not kidding. Bro, so these stories are crazy.
Would you believe over 100 years ago, this chick was like the Taylor Swift, Beyonce, or Lady Gaga of her time?
Okay.
She was arguably one of the most famous women in America in the 1920s. Forget Clara Bow, Mary Pickford.
Go put that back.
This was Amy Semple.
Go put that one back.
Amy was a pastor, and she founded
Go
one of the first
put it
megachurches in the U.S. It's called the Angelus Temple in LA. It's still there. And it
Why do
seats
you have
over
to speak
5,000 people,
back to me? That's
which was
talking back.
consistently packed. These were not
And you just
quiet
literally-
traditional sermons.
You still
She
doing it. Can you
staged
just put it back and
elaborate
be quiet,
productions
please?
with costume, props, lighting,
Can you just
dramatic
put it back and be quiet,
She
please?
did the very most, and people lined up for hours to be able to see her sermons. Newspapers covered her every move. Fans collected her photos. She even had her own religious radio show, reaching audiences across America.
I know y'all just heard me yell like that. I did that because I didn't want to hear what she was finna say. I'm so sick of kids talking back when they get a command or a demand. Be quiet and do what you are told. Like at the end of the day. At the end of the day, there ain't no reason why you got to explain why you doing what you doing or why you did what you did. Just do what you was just told and zip it. Don't nobody want to hear nothing, or else I would have asked for an explanation. Kids, start listening.
Amy was born on October 9th, 1890 in Ontario, Canada. She was a Libra. When she was 17, she met a Pentecostal missionary from Ireland. His name was Robert Semple, and they got married when she was 18. She dedicated her life to Jesus, and she and her husband traveled to China to start preaching the word. They both contracted malaria. Boom, she recovered. He didn't. He passed away. And a few months later, she gave birth to their daughter, Roberta. She and her daughter returned back to the States. And 2 years later, she meets an accountant named Harold McPherson. And they fall in love, so they get married. Together, they had a son named Rolf. But Amy felt that the Lord was calling her and that she needed to preach. So she bounces. She takes her son and she bounces to go preach the word all over the U.S. Her husband, Harold, went to go find Amy and their son to bring them back home. But when he found her and listened to her preach, he was like, hold up, wait a minute. She's pretty good. So he decided to join her. They sold their house and they started traveling by car, and they would set up revival tents and they were just spreading the word. But after a while, Harold was like, this isn't for me. Marriage number 2 ended in divorce. 1918 rolls around. Both Amy and her daughter Roberta catch the flu, and she's hearing voices from God telling her, go to Los Angeles. Amy, her kids, and her mother start hitting the road, Jack, okay? And along the way, she is preaching the word. And people cannot get enough of this woman. She is charismatic. She is charming. They are addicted to her words. Once in LA, she preaches at a revival. There are over 1,000 people, and they love it. They love every single word she says. So they build her a home, and they begin to raise money so that she can open her own church. She was incredibly media savvy. She was glamorous. She drove a convertible. She wore some fly clothing. And again, her performances were Gaga worthy. And then at the height of her fame, she walked into the Pacific Ocean and disappeared.
What? In 1913, one of the most famous authors in the United States hopped on a horse and rode off into Mexico, never to be seen again. Whatever happened to Ambrose Bierce remains an unsolved mystery to this day.
Okay, hold up. I'm still a little confused with the last one. They said walked into the Pacific Ocean and disappeared. Do y'all own research, man. That's crazy.
At the age of 71, Bierce announced that he was leaving his home in the Bay Area and going south to Mexico to try to witness the Mexican Revolution and to meet Pancho Villa. And aside from a few letters written back to friends, there's no conclusive evidence about what exactly happened to him. Today, when he's remembered at all, Bierce is remembered as a master of the short story who built on his experiences fighting in the Civil War. He fought in the battles of Shiloh, Chickamauga, and the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain, where he received a severe head injury. By the time the septuagenarian saddled up in El Paso and rode off into Juarez, Bierce was known back in San Francisco as a pistol-toting barfly with a sharp tongue and a bad temper. In one of his final letters, he wrote, "Goodbye. If you hear of me being stood up against a Mexican stone wall and shot to rags, please know that I think that's a pretty good way to depart this life. It beats old age, disease, or falling down the cellar stairs. To be a gringo in Mexico, that is euthanasia." There are competing theories about his death. Most agree that he met with the revolutionary leader Pancho Villa and witnessed fighting at the Battle of Tierra Blanca. After that, the trail goes cold. As an author, he sits somewhere in the spectrum between the gothic works of Edgar Allan Poe and the dark humor of Mark Twain. But his exit from this world may be the darkest story he ever wrote, and the mystery remains unsolved.
This is how we grow a podcast to over 10,000 listeners without spending hours editing each week. First, look up Riverside, then create a free account. We chose Riverside because it's an end-to-end platform for podcasting, meaning you can record your podcast with studio-level quality, edit seamlessly with the help of AI, and publish directly to Spotify, all within one platform. One of my favorite parts is the editor. Because it's so fast and easy to use, we can manage all the editing right within the platform and not have to export the video to a bunch of different tools. If we ever get on a tangent that I need to edit out, I can just select the part of the transcript I want to delete, hit delete, and then it removes that part from the video. It makes it so literally...
You know what, now I want to talk about this because I just said something about how hard it was to edit a video. And I know all of us been going through this where we talking and we having conversations about stuff we ain't never searched. And then there it go, pop up in your face, trying to get you to download. I'm not finna keep playing these games with this algorithm. Now, this is why I do my YouTube channel the way I do it. I can't, guys. This one-way street, everything matches up, makes everybody want to do it and buy it. Listen, it's all a hoax. It's a way to keep y'all blinded. I'm gonna keep my channel all over the place at this point. I'm not finna do this. Because this did it right in front of y'all. I said something about it, and then they trying to find me, get me to download AI to help me edit my video. I don't want no help editing my video, because if I let the AI edit my video, it ain't going to be edited the way I want it to be. It's going to be edited the way that they want the algorithm to keep being brainwashed by CERN and DARPA and them. But Backspace delete. Do your own research. Tired of it.
Anyone?
There's an American YouTuber who is missing after being abducted in the Philippines. Here's what we know. This story is insane. This is Elliot Eastman. He moved to the Philippines after meeting his wife there. He moved there back in May to marry her. They moved to an area in the Philippines that he was live streaming about, that he was like worried about that himself. He was worried about them living there. They were hoping to move out of the area. He even had a live stream on October 16th where he was talking about how like some nights he's really scared. And the clips of that live stream are just really eerie and like foreshadowing in a way that's so scary. And then late on Thursday night, 3 men who were dressed as police officers who were armed with M16s stormed into his house when he tried to pretend to arrest him. They were abducting him. When he tried to fight them off, one of them shot him in the leg, and then they picked him up, they put him on a speedboat and just took him away. His father-in-law immediately called the police, and they've been searching for him ever since. There isn't much known about like how these people could have found out where he was, if he was targeted, if this was a random thing, if they knew him, if he knew them. But it's such a scary situation, and the fact that he like could almost feel it coming in live streams from last week. Authorities say they are doing everything that they can, and we have all of the positive thoughts for his safe return. But to me, this just showcases more of the danger of like live vlogging. Like people know where you are in the exact second when you go live. And I would just encourage people to be really careful when they are sharing their location the second that they are still at that location.
That is very true. It's crazy out here.
It's just come out that this former NFL player has been missing for 6 months. This is an incredibly strange case. It came out a day or so that Sam Beal, who used to play for the New York Giants, hasn't actually been seen since last summer. He was an incredibly successful athlete. He played for the Giants from 2018 to 2021. He's only 29 years old, and at the time he'd apparently just agreed to borrow his girlfriend's car for the day. He had dropped her off at work in Michigan as normal, and that was the last time she ever saw him. Wow. He then appears to have driven across the country and ended up at Virginia Beach, which is odd in itself. Like, why would you drive all that way? He didn't tell anyone that that was his plan. It's very odd. But here's where it gets really eerie. That same car that he had borrowed was then found at Virginia Beach, totally abandoned. And inside were Sam's socks and shoes. Now, I don't know if this is relevant to the disappearance. It very well could be, but his shoes and socks were found in the passenger footwell of the car, and there was sand in there. I don't know what that could mean. He'd not taken anything else with him, like he didn't have a big bag or anything to suggest that he was gonna go on a road trip or stay somewhere for an extended period of time. It makes no sense. Now, his older sister has posted online, "We've done everything we could on our end to piece things together, and at this point we're in desperate need of support on all ends. I'm not here to answer a bunch of whys and hows. I just need this to land in the right direction to gain some form of answers or closure."
Amelia Earhart disappeared in 1937, and most people think she probably just crashed into the ocean and was never found. But what if that's not what happened? I have always been fascinated with Amelia Earhart and who she was and what happened to her, but if you are unfamiliar, she disappeared while trying to become the first female to circumnavigate the globe. And before that, she was setting all sorts of aviation records, including what she's most known for, which was being the first female to fly solo nonstop across the Atlantic Ocean. Now, the most likely theory for her disappearance is that she ran out of fuel and crash landed into the Pacific Ocean. Her last radio communications were indicating that she was struggling to find this island. It's called Howland Island. It's about halfway between Hawaii and Australia. But her crash landing in the Pacific Ocean is the most widely accepted theory and is probably what happened to her, but there has never been any wreckage or evidence found. But there are some other theories that I have always found really interesting. The first of which is that they crash landed on this atoll. They actually found a partial skeleton that maybe matched her build on this island, as well as plane parts. So that's the main evidence supporting this theory, but it's still inconclusive. My personal favorite theory is that she survived and lived out her life in New Jersey under a different identity. There was even a full book written about this theory in the 70s, and this lady ended up suing the author because she was like, "I'm not Amelia Earhart." Another one that kind of builds on the last one is that Amelia was actually a spy for the US government and that she was captured in Japan. She either died in custody or had to be rescued by the US Navy, who then turned her into Irene in New Jersey. Honestly, she probably just ran out of fuel. That's probably the most likely thing, but I am curious, what do you think happened?
Damn.
I'm curious too, y'all. What y'all think happened to her? You know, that got something to do with this flat and the circle and yeah, the sphere or the flat earth. Da. So as she was going from one side to the other, what could she have possibly seen? Did she go over the Bermuda Triangle? Did she go over the Bermuda Triangle, y'all? What y'all think happened to her now? Let me know something.
You don't want to be in a plane crash.
Okay, tell me I'm not the only one who is just finding out about this crazy Hollywood unsolved murder. This is Jean. She's 26 years old, and she was an actress in Los Angeles who had done some small movie roles, including a movie with a man named Kirk Douglas, who actually, that movie got released after she had already vanished. On October 7th, 1949, Jean left her home in Park La Brea, and she had told her sister-in-law that she was going to talk to her ex-husband about child support for her child, and then that she had a late-night shoot, and so she kissed her child goodbye and left. Hours later, she called back home and told them that she was actually going to work much later than she thought, and that it was going to be a really late-night shoot.
Your hair is not short.
Turns out she just never came home. 2 days later, her purse was actually found, oddly enough, at the top of Griffith Park, near Griffith Observatory, which is a place in Los Angeles. And the strap on the purse was torn, and there was a note that was written inside that said, "Kirk, can't do this any longer. I'm going to see Dr. Scott. It will be better this way," or something. But she named Kirk and Dr. Scott. They first called her husband Dexter to obviously investigate him, but he had an alibi that completely checked out, so he was in the clear. Then they called Kirk Douglas because the note had the name Kirk on it, and he insisted that he hardly even knew her and that he kind of remembers meeting her on the set of the movie, but it was in passing and it wasn't anything remarkable. Obviously, there are some comparisons with the Black Dahlia case, and also there's a lot of theories. Like there's this one theory that she was tied to this man who ended up disappearing like 2 days after her, and so there's theories that they ran off together, but to this day she still is considered a missing persons report, and there is no theories or no conclusions as to what happened to her.
Dang.
One of the biggest mysteries in modern Welsh times is the disappearance of the rock star Richie Edwards. As the guitarist of the cult Welsh rock band Manic Street Preachers, Edwards was increasingly becoming more well known. He joined the band in 1992, and by 1995, Taking on America was on the immediate horizon. In 95, the band, including Edwards, was supposed to fly to America for a promo tour. Instead of leaving London for the airport, Edwards decided to drive to his homeland of Wales. After that point, he was never seen again. There's a theory that he jumped off the Severn Bridge, but no evidence or bodies were ever found to corroborate this story. So, even to this day, we have no idea what actually happened to Richie Edwards.
Celebrities who disappeared and were never found. Child movie star Joe Pickler. Pickler appeared to be on a rocket ship to stardom in the late 90s, starring in hits like the Beethoven sequels, Varsity Blues, and Shallow 2. However, at the age of 18, after taking some time off the big screen, Pickler would vanish. Pickler had moved back to his hometown of Bremerton, Washington.
Yeah, guys, I love Shiloh too. And one.
To finish out his high school career, but was planning a move back to Hollywood at the time of his disappearance. Instead, on January the 9th of 2005, Pickler's Toyota Corolla was found abandoned with his phone inside, but his wallet and keys missing. Investigators learned the last time anyone had seen Pickler was actually on the evening of the 4th during a night of cards with friends. At 4:15 a.m. on the 5th, Pickler placed a call to another friend of his, but the contents of that conversation have not been released. When Pickler's car was discovered on the 9th, several poems and strange notes that allegedly mentioned wanting to be a stronger brother were found inside. This has led some to suspect that Pickler could have taken his own life, although family believes foul play was most certainly involved. Regardless, 20 years later, Pickler's body, keys, or wallet have never been found.
What?
A retired U.S. Air Force general just totally disappeared, and the details are not making sense. His name is Neil McCaslin, and he used to oversee some of the military's most advanced technology. So authorities say that he vanished from his home in New Mexico nearly 2 weeks ago at this point. He's 68 years old, and according to officials, he likely left on foot. But here's where things get a bit unusual. So to begin with, he left his phone behind, but he did take his wallet, his hiking boots, and a revolver. Search teams, including the FBI, have been combing all of the trails near his home, and they have found no trace of him in particular. At one point, they did find a shirt, but they can't confirm if it was his or not. Authorities at this point say there's no evidence of any foul play, but I mean, let's be honest. McCaslin wasn't just any retired officer.
Right.
Before retiring, he commanded the Air Force Research Laboratory. Now, that's a role tied to serious space research, super advanced systems, and highly sensitive programs. And in fact, in more recent years, his name has come up quite a bit around the UAP topic. In fact, in a recent discussion with Jeremy Corbell, Congressman Eric Burleson even said that McCaslin was someone that they really wanted to speak with. But every attempt that they made to reach out to him was met with the same response. He had nothing to say. And now there's another detail that some people are starting to really question. News Nation pointed out a separate missing person case. This has to do with an aerospace engineer named Monica Reza. And Monica disappeared while hiking in California. This happened within the last year or so, and she has never been found. No trace. And according to reports, she worked on advanced materials, strangely enough, in a program that McCaslin was connected to during his time in the Air Force. There is no confirmed connection between these two cases, but I mean, the timing and the overlap has definitely raised questions among many people that are following this particular story. For now, it remains an active missing person investigation. I mean, but think about it. When someone of this level of top secret program access and his type of background literally just vanishes, it definitely raises questions. I will keep you updated.
Of course.
It is feared that the Prime Minister has drowned.
Not many can say their country's leader has disappeared. But on this day in 1967, Australian Prime Minister Harold Holt went for a swim, never to be seen again. His disappearance shocked the nation, and it became one of the largest search and rescue efforts in Australia's history. But his body was never recovered. While on holiday in Victoria's Mornington Peninsula, Holt dove into a secluded beach with a friend and seemingly vanished.
They asked us to rescue a diver who was supposedly lost. Look, it was like being inside a washing machine.
Because his body was never found, and he was known to be a strong swimmer, questions surrounding his disappearance fueled conspiracy theories. One even suggesting that the PM was a Chinese spy.
I'm gonna be myself.
Another
don't care.
was assassinated by the CIA.
Don't want
He had been the
to
nation's
don't
leader for just
keep
under
making
2
me do
years
it.
before his death. Holt was the first prime minister to challenge Australia's racist
It's
White Australia policy and controversially increase the country's involvement in the Vietnam War. And to commemorate the prime minister who disappeared and is thought to have drowned, Australia named a pool after him.
Bob told us that they were going to test the alien craft that night.
I have seen extraterrestrials face to face.
In the shrubbery are little gray entities.
UFOs land in front of them. They're in Antarctica.
They felt distressed because they were captured. There has been direct contact over many, many years.
Current Galactic Senate has only been in operation for about the last 50,000 years.
And he goes, yeah, this is from the craft they've had since 1940s.
Some of them have crystals embedded in their skulls. I always felt very comfortable with them. They've shown me quite a bit of what our future looks like. We need to come together as a people.
This is the tragic story of a child author named Barbara Newhall Follett. Barbara Newhall Follett was a child prodigy living in New York City. By the time she was 5, she was tapping on the typewriter that her dad had. She was written about in Harper's Bazaar as being this child prodigy, and she wrote a tale called The Life of the Spinning Wheel, The Rocking Horse, and the Rabbit. By the time she was 8, she would spend the entire day writing, and she would write about 4,000 words a day. But she had written a book called The House Without Windows. It was this tale about this family or a child who ran away from loneliness to find companions in the woods, animal friends mainly. Dad submitted the story to the New York Times, and she was given a full spread in the paper. She was featured on the front page, and then the Saturday Review of Literature found the book almost unbearably beautiful. When she was a little bit older, her dad left her mom and her, and it was devastating. Ends up marrying this guy when she's just a teenager. He's cheating, and then by the time it's 1939, she just left. She was only 25 when she disappeared and was never seen again.
Hey.
Some of these stories are crazy.
Did you guys know that Johnny Depp had a lawsuit filed against him by an old business partner? However,
Come on,
days
babe,
before he
please.
was due to go into court, the business partner went missing and is presumed to be murdered. So I wasn't going to poke this bear, but sometimes in a case, it just deserves to be poked, and fuck it. So today we're talking about Anthony Fox. In 1993, he met a man called Johnny Depp. You may be familiar with his name. Johnny Depp and his musician friend Chuck E. Wise went into business with Anthony Fox. And this business that they opened was a club called the Viper Room. And to be honest with you, it was just an instant success and became the ultimate celebrity hangout. But on Halloween night, someone died there. This person was one of Hollywood's brightest stars at the time, River Phoenix. And everything sort of went downhill for the club from there. However, in the year of 2000, Anthony Fox filed a lawsuit against Johnny Depp. In this lawsuit, it says that Johnny Depp defrauded him of millions of dollars in club money. And this is where it gets even weirder, because days before they were due in court, Anthony Fox goes missing without a trace. It was until police found his truck abandoned, and a body was never found, but it's likely that he was, done. This case has been going on for years now, and I bet you hadn't heard of it, even with all the stuff in the Johnny Depp trial before. But yeah, let me know your thoughts below, because I swear this case has been wiped from the earth.
TikTokers who have gone missing. In April of 2020, Andrew Dawson posted this TikTok video where he noticed and recorded a strange figure on top of a mountain on his drive home from work. Andrew describes the figure as a possible giant. He mentioned that on 2 different occasions. CIA agents told him to leave the area for trespassing. On May 12th, 2020, he suddenly disappeared without a trace. And still to this day, no one has any idea what actually happened to him. People have speculated that his disappearance has something to do with the video he recorded of said giant. The case itself is extremely strange. I wouldn't put it past the CIA to do something to him. It seems as though he saw something most people probably
I will
weren't
make you
supposed
put
to.
the phone
Like your
down. I promise you. Keep looking down.
Ryan is the best content marketing team lead I've ever worked with. But before he created his content calendar using Monday.com, his strategy was, let's just get something out. Now with Monday.com, he easily
I'm not on.
board.
I don't even know why you would put it on that side anyway. That's slow.
In November of 2006, as actress Leah Remini arrived at the 15th century Italian castle ceremony to see fellow Scientologist Tom Cruise marry Katie Holmes, she had just one question upon seeing the infamous and secretive leader of their movement, David Miscavige. Where is Shelley? When the creator of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, died in 1986, his chosen heir, David Miscavige, took the throne. And along with him, his wife, Shelley Miscavige, who had been a member of Scientology since she was 12 years old. The two meeting while serving in the religion's strangely paramilitary-esque Sea Org division. If you're unfamiliar with Scientology, it's a religion created in 1953 by science fiction writer L. Ron Hubbard. Though I'm sure the religion has helped many people, there have also been several high-profile allegations of abuse, poor working conditions, financial control, and worse. The parishioners of the church must pay increasingly exuberant fees for the treatment sessions in effort to go clear, a process which is supposed to help remove trauma. Some members working their entire lives doing menial labor jobs and living on the church campuses. Scientology has become infamous over the years for allegedly utilizing extremely hostile and invasive tactics to discredit and defame any former members or investigators in fear of the public finding out what goes on within the church. The group owns over $400 million in real estate in Hollywood alone and pretty much bought a city in Florida. They even have several secretive, heavily guarded bases hidden throughout Wyoming, California, and New Mexico. When David took power, his wife was given a role fit for who was ostensibly now the First Lady of Scientology, creating the position of Chairman of the Board Assistant, which put her in charge of all the highest-ranking staffers. Except, she had little true power over her own life or any decisions made, as David was extremely controlling and quick to temper, making her role little more than his personal assistant. It seems Shelley slowly lost favor with David, as he shot down all of her projects, and rumors of him having an affair with his communications expert, Laurice Stuckenbrock. These rumors only multiplied by the fact that the two no longer shared a bedroom and hadn't showed any personal affection in front of anyone in years. According to defectors from the mysterious organization, Shelley maintained a desperate attempt to impress and assist David in his work, but did begin to feel and express that he was going off the rails. These same former members that were so close to Shelley claimed
claimed that in early 2006, she was showing signs of massive stress and anxiety, appearing unstable and fearful. During this time, Shelley made two decisions while David was away on a trip. In order to facilitate renovations to David's personal living space, Shelley had some of his belongings boxed up and put in storage. She then rearranged some of the staff positions at Gold Base where she was living, informing them of their new titles and duties. Both actions David must have considered completely over the line. One of the former members is quoted as saying, "She puttered around for maybe a week or two. She was being very sheepish and withdrawn. It was like she knew she was in big trouble." In August of 2007, Shelley's father passed away, and she attended the funeral after being isolated for some time. According to former high-ranking Scientologist Mike Rinder, Shelley was taken to one of several Scientology facilities in the San Bernardino Mountains, a place he refers to as a very secret location, the heavily guarded headquarters of the Church of Spiritual Technology, where the church takes great care in preserving the writings of their founder for eternity. These writings are etched into stainless steel tablets, which are held in titanium containers filled with argon gas. Those containers are lined with heat shielding developed for the space shuttle program. The containers are then stored in deep underground vaults. Maintaining and protecting these facilities is considered an honor amongst the Scientologists, but defectors have also claimed that these locations are also used as de facto prisons.
What?
I just have to budget in there.
What? How? Phase 44. Look, it pulls our expenses into one place and breaks down spending.
It's been roughly 50.
Come on, y'all guys. Is that true? Listen. Put in. Tell me what y'all think about that in the comments. I never even heard of it. Do y'all research? This is crazy.
15 years since Shelley has been seen in public.
How long were you in Florida for?
3 months.
3 months of dealing with this? 3 months? Every day for 3 months?
I had to write apology letters.
90 days? So you're there for 90 days, all you're talking about is Tom Cruise's
It was during
wedding.
my hiatus.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's what I'm doing most of the time. I get these reports. I'm sent to Florida immediately, the Mecca, the hub of Scientology.
Clearwater.
That's right. For interrogations.
I put water in it.
No, and I mean like interrogations.
So you have to fly out there.
I fly out there. I'm in the room. I'm in a room, with cameras, with my person who is armed with information unbeknownst to me of a stack of reports that are written on me. These are
After Leah went public with her questions about Shelley's whereabouts, Scientology began going above and beyond to discredit and smear their former member. The church goes to great lengths to discredit those who speak negatively about it, including making a YouTube channel dedicated to painting Leah in as negative a light as possible, that produced several high production value testimonials from various figures in Leah's life, including her father, stepmother, loose acquaintances, all the way down to a manager of a Scientologist hotel and a home inspector whom Leah met once.
In the 10,000 inspections I've dealt with, I've probably dealt with maybe 3 people that I would consider to be truly, I don't know another word other than insane.
Why go to these great lengths to discredit one person, instead of just urging Shelley Miscavige to make a public statement? It is my personal belief that Shelley is unable to make a statement for one of 2 reasons. Shelley is long dead, or Shelley is being held
chasing you,
against her
Imani.
will at one of the
I'm
church's
chasing you.
This is wild.
In 2013, after finally leaving Scientology, actress Leah Remini filed a missing persons report with the LAPD. However, the report was quickly closed and marked as unfounded. According to the LAPD, they made contact with Shelley but refused to give any details as to her state of mind, health, or
Why
if
do
they
you
met
keep
with her
looking
in an
down,
environment
man?
where she would be away from her
Yes, you
potential
are!
kidnappers in order to express the need for help. The case so quickly shut down, so either Shelley really is fine or could corruption be playing a role. In early November 2022,
Now you're not.
Remini took to Twitter to provide a potentially disturbing update regarding her search for Shelley Miscavige, detailing how the captain who was in charge of the Hollywood division at the time Leah filed the missing persons report has ties to Scientology. Here's him accepting a $20,000 check from Scientology to an LAPD charity. And not only that, but Corey is now being investigated for providing confidential information to top CBS executives, which means he was allegedly selling confidential information to a television network. If he was willing to do that, it's not much of a logic leap to understand how easy it would have been to influence the LAPD's response to Leah's missing persons report. Leah also posted this picture of LAPD Lieutenant Andre Dawson, the detective in charge of her missing persons report, into Shelley Miscavige, who also has connections to Scientology. Here he is speaking at Scientology's Celebrity Center at an event about human trafficking.
Come on, man. They connected out there. They connected, especially in LA.
Riverside talks about the entire process of making a podcast, from recording to edit and even generating clips automatically from your podcast to share on socials. Thanks to local recording, recording with Riverside means you...
Crazy.
She was on the cover of CoverGirl, had been in over 300 beauty pageants, and even had a small role in the movie Scarface. But on July 6, 1983, she would disappear forever. What happened to Tammy Lynn Leppert? Tammy Lynn Leppert was
down
a
again.
beautiful and talented 18-year-old from Rockledge, Florida. She was living with her mother, Linda, who was also her agent, as she started into beauty pageants at age 4, which led her into modeling, which then would also lead her into acting. Now, Tammy had a lot going for her. She was in talks to be in 3 major films, and people thought she was going to be a big star. But in August 1982, after filming the movie Spring Break, she would go to a party. And something happened at this party. We just don't know what it was, but when she came home, her mother said she was a completely different person. She thought somebody was after her and trying to kill her. She wouldn't answer the door.
Whoa.
She didn't want people to come in the house, and she would even have people taste her food because she thought it was poisoned. In March 1983, when filming the movie Scarface that she had a small role in, she saw blood on scene, and she had a full breakdown and became hysterical. She had to be taken off set, and she started talking about money laundering and how she saw something she wasn't supposed to. Now, on July 2nd, Tammy's mother had her mentally evaluated, and she stayed there for 72 hours, but was discharged on July 5th, and they said she had no substances in her system. On July 6th, 1983, she was supposed...
July 5th, that's my birthday. What a day for her to get released. The day I was born. For her rebirth.
To go to church with a friend. She had told him the day before that she was going, but also said that she may have to leave for a while, not telling him where she was going. So on July 6th, when he called to verify their plans, she was already gone. And she had told her mother at 11 a.m., "Bye, Mommy. I'll see you in a little bit, okay?" She left with a man named Keith Roberts, who she had met in acting classes. Keith says that Tammy called him that morning, asking him to drive 100 miles from his home to hers to pick her up, which he did. And they drove around Cocoa Beach then, and she confided in him that she was scared for her life and thought somebody was after her. And then she asked for a ride to Fort Lauderdale, which he said no, that it was too far. She would then get out of the vehicle into a parking lot, which was between North 2nd and North 3rd Street. She would then attempt to call her aunt 3 times and then try to call her friend Ron once, but neither of them were able to answer.
For your whole body, so I'm not getting
Unfortunately,
frustrated
she
because
was
I'm
never
up
heard
there.
from again after that.
Wow.
Cocoa Beach police have received 2 phone calls since her disappearance from a woman. The first saying that Tammy was still alive and she would reach out when she was ready, and then the second one saying that Tammy had become a nurse. But these are completely unverified.
And I calmed this
Now
out
today,
already.
Tammy would be
So I don't
60
know
years
what you
old.
doing.
Her mother unfortunately passed
calmed
away in
this out already.
1995 without ever knowing what happened to her. If you have any information on what could have happened to Tammy Lynn Leppert, please reach out to the Cocoa Beach Police Department at 321-868-3251. Thank you for listening to Tammy's story, and be sure to follow before you leave.
For the first time in modern history,
need to stop moving over here
college
with your
student
feet so you don't
graduates
flush my teeth.
are more unemployed than high school students.
Just stop moving, please.
Today, those jobs are just disappearing because there's so much confusion out there. So many people.
Bro, these stories are really, really disturbing.
Jody Husentrue, a young news anchor, overslept for her shift, spoke with someone on the phone saying she would be right in, and was never seen again. Jody Husentrue was 27 years old. She was a news anchor in Mason City, Iowa. She was relocated to the area recently. She overslept. She was supposed to be at work at 6 a.m. for the early morning news shift, and a coworker called and said, "Jody, where you at, girl?" And she answered and said, "I'll be right there. Sorry, I overslept." And somehow, from her bedroom to the car, she just vanishes. So they go and look at the apartments that she lived in. Her red Mazda Miata is still out in the parking lot, and all of her stuff is strewn about. The hairdryer, her heels, all of her stuff. Clearly a sign of struggle. Honestly, it appeared as though she had been abducted right in front of her own door. Now, the night before, she was out with friends, including a man named John Van Sice. He was 20 years her senior and apparently very interested in Jody, but she had made it clear multiple times that she only wanted to be friends. Some people even allege that he was obsessed with Jody, and he quickly became a person of interest. Police even searched GPS on his vehicle years later, but charges have never been brought against him. But this case is just so freaking eerie to me because it's been 30 years, there are no answers. I mean, there is simply no trace of her, no leads, no body, nothing for 30 years. How is that possible? Not even a ton of theories to discuss because there's just no evidence. The two theories are basically it was either John Van Sice or someone laying in wait who had been watching Jody and knew her routine. Maybe a crazed fan? Either way, it's been 30 years. Jody's family has never gotten closure. We have never gotten answers. There's just not even been a trace of evidence. So no one has any idea what happened to Jody Huisentruit. Follow me for more true crime stories and updates like this.
Celebrities who disappeared and were never found. Former NBA prospect and Harlem Globetrotter, Rico Harris. Rico Harris was the definition of larger than life, towering at 6'9" and 300 pounds. That's in part what makes Harris's disappearance so hard to fathom.
Because he big as heck.
In October 2014, after injuries, drug addiction, and alcoholism had derailed his full basketball potential, Harris decided to move 1,100 miles from his hometown of LA to Seattle, Washington, to join his longtime long-distance girlfriend and essentially start a new life. At 1 a.m. on the 10th, Harris would tell his mother and brother goodbye and begin the trek north. At around 10 a.m., Rico made 2 phone calls, one to his mother and one to his girlfriend, updating them on the progress of his trip and informing them he was going to pull over near Sacramento to rest on. No one was able to reach Rico after this point, and once he missed his job interview in Seattle the following day, Rico's family contacted police. 4 days after anyone had heard from Rico, his Nissan Maxima was located by a deputy just north of Sacramento, near an area referred to as Cache Creek Canyon. His vehicle had CDs, credit cards, and papers strewn throughout it, but no sign of the 6'9" Rico. After a 3-day search of the area, which included all-terrain vehicles, helicopters, thermographic cameras, and even canines, investigators determined Harris was not in the area. In turn, police would tow Rico Harris's car and began processing it for evidence. 4 more days would go by when someone driving through Cache Creek Canyon reported seeing a large man fitting Rico's description near the parking lot where his car was towed from. Police were dumbfounded when they went back to the parking lot and sure enough found fresh size 18 shoe prints.
Whoa.
Investigators were also able to locate Rico's backpack, which had inside it his phone and charger. The items were found by the roadway some 2 miles from where Rico's car was abandoned. After another week of intense searching of the area, baffled police would decide to dial back their efforts. It's now been 11 years since anyone has seen Rico Harris.
Let me show you something that makes me furious every time I see it. This is a real tax return for someone making $284,972 per year in a W-2 income. Take a look at this. Line 16, the federal tax alone is $85,000.
Some celebrity deaths are a moment's headlines, discussed for a few days, and then everyone moves on. Others become a defining moment of a generation. And 81 years ago, one such celebrity was band leader Glenn Miller, whose plane was lost over the English Channel. He was in the U.S. Army Air Corps, and he was enlisted, but he was entertaining the troops as part of his work. His big band, swing big band, an orchestra became a part of the Army and kind of a precursor to modern military bands. And he was such a morale booster and such a symbol and such a hero to everyone in the U.S., but throughout the Allied forces, that he was just a symbol of encouragement and such a morale booster for everyone. and his disappearance, and then he was declared dead a year and a day later, retroactive to December 15th, 1944. So December 16th, 1945 is when they make the official pronouncement, because that was the convention at the time with aircraft disasters. He was declared dead, but he was such a hero to so many. And of course, everyone knew that he wouldn't be recovered and all of that. It was pretty obvious fairly early on. And so many people of that generation, including one of my grandmothers, my figure skating coach, so many people talked about him and the loss of him as just such a low point in the war, because he'd been such a rallying point for everyone and someone who brought so much cheer. And then for it to happen right at Christmas, you know, right at a time when the tide of the war had really turned after D-Day, and there was so much hope that things would be over soon and that this would be the last Christmas of the war, as it ended up being. You know, there was just all this hope in the air, and then Glenn Miller's plane was lost, and it was just kind of this difficult, dark moment. But the thing is, he did leave so much music behind, and we're still listening to it. We're still loving it. It's still bringing us a ton of joy. So next time you hear his music on the radio or on Spotify, or you watch the movie made about his life, The Glenn Miller Story, or you see him in movies, because he was definitely a huge celebrity before the war as well, remember him and remember the joy that he brought to so many, even in the darkest of times. And maybe that's something we need right now a little bit.
Thanks.
Anyway, let me know in the comments. Did you know about Glenn Miller? Had you heard of him before? And may he rest in peace, and may his memory remain.
In 1996, this reporter Susan Walsh stepped out of her apartment and was never seen again. She was investigating an underground vampire cult, and the question is her disappearance just a coincidence, or did she get too close to the truth? Susan was a journalist and an exotic dancer in New York City, and she would write about these
I'm sorry. Did dude just say underground vampire cult? And at this point, we know they not real vampires. They an underground blood drinking society, nation, community. What y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Do y'all research and tell me in the comments.
exotic subcultures. She really gained a ton of recognition when she exposed the dark underbelly of the New York City strip club scene. Things like the Russian mafia's control and involvement within that scene, the drug problems, the trafficking issues, the violence issues, and she was an inside source to expose all of it. But years after all this, she started looking into these underground vampire communities within NYC. Now, these weren't just people playing dress up. These were people who would allegedly drink blood, practice very, very dark rituals, and you're never gonna believe it, but we're also connected to sex trafficking, drugs, and a lot of different other things. Even mind control experiments. And they were connected
Good, Mama.
to this mind
Get you a bottle of water.
Okay? So she's been working on this piece for a long time, and she's telling people you are never going to believe what it's connected to. And then on July 16th, 1996, she steps outside and is never seen again. No credit card activity, no cell phone use, no trace. Now, some people reported that before she disappeared, she was acting very anxious and paranoid, saying that she knows that she was being followed, that she was being watched. So what happened? Well, the police suggest it could just be a random crime, which I think is like the least likely scenario. Some theories say that she disappeared on purpose and is still just living here in plain sight. Some theories think that she was looking into MK Ultra and it was the government that disappeared her. Another theory is that it was the human trafficking connection, and maybe it was the mob or those groups that decided it was time to take her out. And the final was that the vampire community did it because they didn't want her to reveal what they were doing.
It's still live, it's still live, it's still live.
Of course it's still live, but they don't see nothing. Oh, sorry y'all. Sorry. I just got done doing her hair and she got up and unplugged my TV. Unplugged my TV. I get so upset sometimes, y'all. I'm working on it. Can you please not step on that cord and come show your hair? Ugh.
My question is, did you know about the story and what do you think happened?
All right, squad, that was another TikTok compilation, man. Crazy celebrities disappearing. Like, you made it this far, you a real one for real. Some of these stories are completely crazy.
No, for real. If y'all made it that far, y'all real. Y'all real. I gotta get up out of here. I might edit that last part out. I don't know. I might not even edit this video. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It'd be just too much. I'm gonna just keep live streaming. I couldn't use my grease. This the type of stuff when you open your grease, you see. And kids don't, they just do what they want to do. But like I said, thank you for coming and watching this video with me. And let me get up out of here. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Leave in the comments, like, subscribe, and share. And again, enjoy those wonderful lives given to you. And smile, even when it's hard. Until next time, guys.